All right, let's talk about one of the trickiest parts of Spanish grammar. If you've ever just stared at a sentence, totally confused about where that little word me, te, or lay is supposed to go, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to crack the code on Spanish pronoun placement once and for all. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It feels like these little pronouns just have a mind of their own. Sometimes they pop up before the verb, other times they're literally attached to the end. It's one of those things that can make your sentences sound, well, just a little bit off. And you see examples like this everywhere. On the left, te doy, the pronoun is out front. On the right, darte, and it's glued to the end. It looks completely random, I know, but I promise you there's a super simple, logical system behind all this, and we're about to lay it all out. So here's our game plan. We'll start with a quick look at the pronouns themselves, then we'll find their home base or default position. After that, we'll check out the to-verb option, master the command rule, and then we'll tie it all together with a handy blueprint and a quick practice round to make it stick. Okay, first things first. Let's just do a quick refresher to make sure we're all on the same page about the little words we're actually working with here. We are talking about indirect object pronouns. I know, that sounds super academic and boring, but it's really not. These are just the little words that tell us who or what is receiving the action. So if I give a book, the pronoun answers the question, to whom? And here they are, our T players for today. Me, te, le, nos, and les. They just mean to me, to you, to him, and so on. Pretty simple, right? So now that we know who they are, let's figure out where they live in a sentence. All right, let's jump into our first and honestly most important rule. You can think of this as the pronoun's home base. It's the spot where it's going to be most of the time. And here it is, rule number 1. In a simple sentence with one main verb that's been conjugated, the pronoun goes directly before it. Not after, not attached, not somewhere else, right before. This is your foundation for everything else. Let's see it in action. Look at te doy el regalo. The main verb is doy, so te sits right in front. Same thing with nos explican and me escribes. See the pattern? The pronoun always comes right before that action word. All you have to do is find the conjugated verb and pop the pronoun right in front. Okay, so that's the home base rule. Pretty straightforward. But this is where things get really interesting. What happens when you have a second verb in the sentence? This is where Spanish actually gives you a bit of freedom. So whenever your sentence has two verbs working together, think phrases like I am going to give or I am explaining. You've got a main conjugated verb plus another one in its infinitive or gerund form. In these situations, Spanish gives you two totally correct options for where to put the pronoun. And this slide shows it perfectly. Look at these two choices. Option A, you can just stick with rule 1 and put the pronoun before the first verb, the conjugated one. So, te voy a dar. Or option B, you can attach the pronoun directly to the end of the second verb, the infinitive, making it one word, darte. Both sentences mean the exact same thing. I'm going to give you a gift. So, if they're both correct, how do you decide which one to use? Well, here's a little pro tip for you. Even though the meaning is identical, attaching the pronoun to the end can sometimes add just a little bit more emphasis to the action. It's a subtle thing, but it's a pretty cool stylistic choice you can make. Okay, let's move on to our final special case, commands. The absolute easiest way to remember this rule is to think about a simple on-off light switch. If the command is positive, on, you do one thing. If it's negative or off, you do the complete opposite. This makes it so clear. For a positive command like, give me the book, the switch is on, so you attach the pronoun, dame. But for a negative command, don't give me the book, the switch is off, so the pronoun goes before the verb, no me des. Just remember, attach for yes, before for no. Simple as that. So we've covered the main rule, the to-verb option, and that command switch. Now it's time for that aha moment, where we put all the pieces together into one single, easy-to-use blueprint. And here it is. This is your personal blueprint. For pretty much any sentence you can think of, just ask yourself what kind it is. A simple sentence, pronoun goes before. Got two verbs? Hey, you've got a choice. Positive command, attach it. Negative command, put it before. This one table is basically your key to getting it right every single time. Now, before we practice, let's just quickly look at a couple of super common traps. The big one is putting the pronoun after a simple conjugated verb. It's always de doy, never ever doy te. And while you'll often hear people use the person's name and the pronoun for clarity, like in the second example, just remember that main rule. All right, you've got the rules, you've got the blueprint. Now let's do a little lightning round practice just to lock it all in and test your new skills. You ready for this? Okay, first one up. Ella, she explains the lesson to us. She explains the lesson to us. What pronoun goes in that blank? Take a second. And the answer is nos. That's it. It's a simple sentence with one conjugated verb, explica. So the pronoun for to us just goes right before it. Ella nos explica. Perfect. All right, let's try a slightly tougher one. Estoy contando la historia a ustedes. I am telling the story to you all. How would you rewrite this using the right pronoun? Now remember, you've got two correct ways to do this. And here are your two options. You can put les before the conjugated verb, so les estoy contando, or you can attach it to the end of the gerund, estoy contándoles. If you got either one of those, you are absolutely crushing it. Both are perfect. And really, that's the whole system. The default role, the two-verb option, and the command switch. What seemed like total chaos now has a clear order. So the only question left is, are you ready to go out there and finally put your pronouns in their place?